In our headlines on this Wednesday afternoon, July 31st, here in South Korea. Team Korea adds 2 bronze medals during its latest competitions at the Paris Summer Olympics, one in mixed table tennis and another in the men's under 81 kilogram judo. Meanwhile, Samsung Electronics posted earnings surprise for the second quarter of this year, with an operating profit of over 10.4 trillion won for the first time in 10 quarters. Over in the Middle East, Israel on Tuesday strikes Beirut, targeting a top Hezbollah commander, allegedly behind a weekend attack that killed 12 young people in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. Team Korea, for the first time in over a decade, is bringing home an Olympic medal for table tennis. Our Lee Seung-jae covers this game and more.
It took 12 years, but South Korea finally added an Olympic medal in table tennis. It was in mixed doubles with Shin Yoo-bin and Im Jong-hoon, ending the long drought by winning bronze. The Shin-Lim duo defeated Wang Chun-ting and Du Hoi-kem of Hong Kong in straight sets 4-0. Winning their first career Olympic medals. The two fought for the third-place finish after falling short against the top-seeded mixed pair from China in Wang Chu-chin and Sun Yun-cha during the semifinals on Monday. The podium finish for Shin and Lim also allowed for a brief and rare Olympic moment where the South Koreans greeted and congratulated North Korean silver medalists Lee Jong-sik and Kim Geum-young. South Korea added another bronze medal on Tuesday, this time in the men's under 81 kilogram judo competition. Lee Jun-hwan became the world's third-best under 81 kilogram judoka after defeating third in the world-ranked Belgian judoka Matthias Kasse, scoring a waza-ari or half point just 48 seconds into the sudden death extra period. Lee secured South Korea's second Paris Olympic medal in judo. Despite being his first Olympics, and despite being just 2 years away from his senior career, Lee expressed slight disappointment and vowed to train harder so that he can win an Olympic gold in Los Angeles in 2028. But the future is bright for the 22-year-old judoka, who the International Judo Federation has even nicknamed Lightning Man, saying he's so fast that he can win a match before the player introduction is over. Meanwhile, in their first ever final of an Olympic swimming relay competition on Tuesday, the South Korean men's 4x100-meter freestyle relay team finished 6th. The 4-member team of Yang Jae-hoon, Lee Ho-jun, Kim Woo-min, and Hwang Sun-woo finished with a final time of 7 minutes 7.26 seconds. Kim had earlier won a bronze medal in the men's 400 meters. With the 2 bronze medals on Tuesday, South Korea is now ranked 5th in the medal standing with 5 gold, 3 silver, and 3 bronze. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And in other news, findings for June show a mixed economic performance, with industrial output extending its on-month retreat, but private spending rebounding on-month. Our Park Eun-woo covers the causes and more.
Industrial output for South Korea dropped in June compared to the previous month, while spending and investment both saw increases. According to related data released by Statistics Korea on Wednesday, overall industrial production fell by 0.1% on month in June. That's the second total output drop in as many months. By sector, public administration and construction decreased by 5.1% and 0.3% respectively, dragging the total industrial output down as well. Statistics Korea says the lower output in public administration was due to earlier than usual budget executions made this year. But the agency pointed to the increases in the mining and manufacturing sectors, including chips and chemical products.
On the production side, semiconductors are booming because the demand outlook for IT devices is good and the AI industry is growing continuously. Exports for chips are good too.
Private spending rebounded 1% in June from May, making it the first time in 3 months that the country saw a rise in spending. That's attributed to greater sales in durable goods such as automobiles and semi-durable goods including shoes and bags. But data also showed that spending dropped by more than 3% compared to a year before, making it the 4th consecutive drop. Equipment investment increased by 4.3% in June on month, Investment in machinery, including special industrial machinery, rose by over 6%. 박건우, Arirang News.
On the corporate front, second quarter findings have surprised Samsung Electronics with earnings above 10 trillion won. Our correspondent Moon Hae-ryun has details.
South Korean tech giant Samsung Electronics posted an earnings surprise for the second quarter of this year, seeing big gains in the memory chip sector. On Wednesday, the company reported an operating profit of 10.44 trillion Korean won between April and June, which is more than 14 times that of what was recorded in the same period last year. This equates to around $7.5 billion and comes following the firm's first quarterly earnings, which saw a surplus for the first time in 5 quarters. It's the first time in 10 quarters that the firm's quarterly earnings have surpassed 10 trillion won. By department, Samsung's DS division dealing with chips tallied 6.45 trillion Korean won in earnings due to strong demand for memory semiconductors such as high-bandwidth memory chips. Based on sales in this division alone, it overtook Taiwan's TSMC for the first time since the second quarter of 2022. The recovery in the market is seen as being a result of continued investment in artificial intelligence by cloud service providers and growing demand for AI in many businesses. The AI boom has also improved the company's foundry business sector, doubling its clientele in AI and high-performance computing as more orders came in for its state-of-the-art process technologies. Other than chips, the firm's MX division in charge of smartphones accounted for 2.23 trillion Korean won in operating profit, a decline from the previous quarter. Samsung Electronics attributed this to an overall decline in demand for premium smartphones, but stated that its Galaxy S24 series continued its success in shipments and revenue. Going into the second half of the year, the firm expects the memory chip market to continue flourishing. In turn, it plans to increase sales of its newest generation of HBM, the HBM3E. With its HBM3 chips cleared for use in NVIDIA's processors in China, analysts predict that the more sophisticated HBM3E chips could be given the green light for NVIDIA's other AI processors later this year and give the firm's earnings a boost for the third quarter. The overall demand for smartphones is also expected to increase in the third quarter of the year, as well as premium products integrating AI features. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
Journalist turned politician Lee Jin-suk has begun her first day at work as the head of the nation's broadcast watchdog. After the longest ever confirmation hearing at the National Assembly, Lee went straight to work at the Gwacheon government complex earlier on this Wednesday. The appointment of the head of the Korea Communication Committee does not require parliamentary approval. Her nomination by President Yoon Suk-yeol has been met with fierce backlash from opposition lawmakers. Separately, President Yoon has tapped former governor of Gyeonggi-do province, Kim Moon-soo, to lead the Labor Ministry. Kim is a 3-term lawmaker who last served as the chair of the Presidential Economic, Social and Labor Council. President Yoon has also appointed new ambassadors. For Japan, Park Chul-hee, former Chancellor of the Korea National Diplomatic Academy, and for Australia, former Admiral Shim Seung-sup. Drone melting laser weapons will be deployed by South Korea within this year to shoot down unmanned North Korean aerial vehicles. Our correspondent Bae Eun-ji was at a testing site.
A drone catches fire and crashes into the sea. It was intercepted by a laser emitted by South Korea's newly developed high-energy laser weapon, about a kilometer away from the drone. At this testing center, South Korea has been developing these laser weapons to shoot down drones. It plans to start deploying and operating them by the end of this year. It has taken 5 years and cost around $63 million for South Korea to develop the new weapon, aimed at detecting and destroying small unmanned vehicles. Laser weapons are not only quiet and invisible, but they only need electricity to operate, making them cheap, costing less than $2 per shot. South Korea is expected to become the first country in the world to officially deploy and operate laser weapons.
We have successfully completed the research and development of an advanced laser weapon. By deploying the weapon in the near future, we will work to become a leading nation in this field.
Seoul's decision to develop and deploy laser weapons comes after Pyongyang's drone provocations in recent years. In 2014, North Korean drones equipped with digital cameras were discovered after crashing near the border in Paju City in Baekneungdo Island. Then in 2020, 5 drones from the north flew across the border and breached South Korean airspace, sounding an alarm over the security threats posed by unmanned vehicles. The laser weapon is designed to shoot down small drones for now, but the country plans to develop it in the future so that it can emit more powerful beams, strong enough to counter aircraft and ballistic missiles. 배은지, Arirang News, Taean.
Meanwhile, Seoul's foreign ministry has pledged to ensure that Tokyo's exhibition of its Sado gold mine as a UNESCO World Heritage Site includes accurate information about its wartime forced labor of Korean workers during World War II. The remarks to this end were shared during a press briefing on Tuesday by ministry spokesperson Lee Jae-ung. The Sado gold mine secured UNESCO status on Saturday after the Japanese government agreed to include in its exhibit the dark history of forced Korean laborers at the site. UNESCO committee members, including South Korea, granted the green light following this agreement, as well as related bilateral consultations between Seoul and Tokyo. The Lebanese capital of Beirut saw a counter-offensive by Israel on Tuesday in retaliation to an assault by Hezbollah this past weekend that killed 12 Israeli youth. Our Sejong has the latest.
On Tuesday afternoon, local time, the Israeli military carried out a retaliatory airstrike in Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. This was in response to the bombing of a football field in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on July 27th, which killed 12 children. The Israeli airstrike hit the southern suburb of Beirut, targeting a commander of Hezbollah, an Iran-backed militant group who Israel says was behind the football field bombing. Lebanese media reported that the airstrike killed 1 person and injured 68 others. Shortly after the Beirut airstrike, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant posted on X that Hezbollah has crossed the red line. The Israel Defense Forces stated that the targeted commander, Fuad Shukur, a senior military advisor to Hezbollah's leader, was killed in the Beirut airstrike. There are concerns that this airstrike could escalate into a full-scale war between Israel and Hezbollah. The United States news agency CNN reported that Israel informed the U.S. before the Beirut attack. Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati strongly condemned the attack, calling it a clear violation of international law. The international community is responding to prevent an escalation. The United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, peacekeeping forces under the UN, are communicating with both Lebanon and Israel to prevent any escalation. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre said that a war between Israel and Hezbollah is not inevitable. Sejong, Arirang News.
And in Iran on Tuesday, Masoud Pezeshkian was sworn into the top office to take over from Ibrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash in May. Now, Pezeshkian won the election earlier this month with pledges to seek constructive interaction with the international community, which has prompted hopes for an ease in hostilities between Iran and the West. But amid regional tensions over the war between Israel and Hamas, he has vowed not to surrender to sanctions and pressure while denouncing the alleged supply of arms to kill children. Meanwhile, in the U.S., Vice President Kamala Harris appears to be standing slightly ahead over rival Donald Trump. A recent poll of over 1,000 American adults showed that 43% of registered voters supported Harris, while 42% supported Trump. In the same poll a week earlier, Harris had a 2 percentage point lead over Trump. The poll also showed that respondents favored Trump's stance, that is, on the economy, immigration and crime. Meanwhile, they favored Harris's plan for health care.
Harris is set to be officially nominated as the Democrat presidential candidate during the party's national convention next month. An art festival currently underway here in Seoul is seeking fresh talent among the youth in Asia. Our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin was there.
This bright red building used to be the home of the National Theatre Company of Korea. Although it's currently closed for renovation, it has temporarily reopened as a gallery to showcase the work of promising young artists in Asia. This is the 2024 Asian Students and Young Artists Art Festival, or ASIAF, Korea's largest arts festival for emerging artists. This year, the festival is part of something even bigger. This year, it is launching the Culture Ministry's first Korea Art Festival, which officially starts in September. This festival puts ASIAF alongside the Gwangju and Busan Biennale's Seoul Art Week, Kiaf Seoul, and Freeze Seoul.
I have high hopes for young artists as their work tends to be freer, more experimental, and more fearless. This exhibition might give us a glimpse into the future of our art industry 10 or 20 years down the line.
For many participants, this festival marks the start of their professional journey as artists. The first step is always special, but ASIAF offers an even more unforgettable experience. These young talents handle everything themselves, from setting up their work on these white walls to selling and shipping their pieces to buyers. The process can be challenging, but it is a memorable chapter of their careers.
At my first ASIAF, I sold a painting of a turtle. The buyer had a pet turtle that passed away between buying my work and receiving it. They said they would cherish the painting, which touched my heart and made me feel they found the right home. That experience inspired me to participate again this year. Art fairs like this give us a chance to sell our work and get motivation.
For visitors, it's a chance to discover hidden talent and purchase unique pieces that connect with them at affordable prices.
I majored in art at university, but I didn't end up becoming an artist. Even so, I still have a strong passion for art. The pieces by these young artists are definitely bolder in terms of ideas and colors. I decided to buy a piece that resonated with the quiet, tranquil lifestyle I want.
The 2024 ASIAF runs at the old Baekchang Theater near the Seoul train station until August 25th. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. Mass protests broke out in the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, on Tuesday, following the disputed result of the country's presidential election, where President Nicolas Maduro claimed a re-election victory. Several deaths were reported, while Attorney General Tarek Saab said that 749 people had been detained, but that the number may rise further. Saab stated that several detainees are being charged with public intimidation, inciting hatred, and in some cases, terrorism. He also said that 48 officials, including members of the military and police, have been injured, some by gunfire. While the country's defense minister described the protests as a coup, the use of tear gas and rubber bullets alarmed the international community, with the United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk saying that he is extremely concerned and alarmed by reports of disproportionate use of force by law enforcement officials. Nicolas Maduro, who has ruled Venezuela for a quarter century, claimed he'd won a third term with 51% of the vote on Sunday, while independent exit polls showed a big opposition win. Moving over to India and its southern state of Kerala, where at least 123 people have been killed and dozens are still feared to be trapped after heavy rains collapsed hillsides and triggered massive landslides. Rescue work began in Kerala's Wayanad district in the early hours of Tuesday, where torrents of mud, water and boulders tumbled down, sweeping through the tea estates and villages. Local authorities reported that the hillsides near the village of Mundakai gave up after midnight following torrential rainfall on Monday. The Wayanad district of Kerala state is one of India's most popular tourist destinations. Most of the victims were reportedly tea estate workers and their families who are asleep. Tuesday's landslides in Kerala were the worst in the Indian state since 2018, when heavy floods killed around 400 people. Washington's top diplomatic and defense envoys have announced $500 million in military funding to boost the Philippines' defenses and the proposed military intelligence sharing pact as the two allies renewed their shared concerns over China's aggression in the region, especially the South China Sea. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Tuesday met with the Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who hailed the very open communication lines between Washington and Manila, while stressing the need for a U.S. military presence in the region for stability and peace. The funding will be used to assist with the ongoing modernization of the Philippine military and Coast Guard, while $125 million from the package will go towards improving the Philippine military bases set to be occupied by the U.S. forces under the 2014 Enhanced Defense Cooperation. Kim Sejong, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. Following the end of the monsoon season, Korea is in the grip of simmering heat with heat wave alerts. Meanwhile, those in Gyeongsangdo provinces are enduring more intense heat, and Daegu should see a high of 37 degrees Celsius this afternoon. And burning sunshine continues to bake Korea, with Jeju forecast to see extreme levels of UV rays. So make sure to protect yourself against sunburn today. Drink plenty of water instead of caffeinated drinks. Avoid spending time outdoors during the hottest parts of the day. And take it easy. I'm sure it's been weeks since getting some decent sleep due to the warm nights. Seoul has been under tropical nights for 10 consecutive days, and this afternoon getting up to 33 degrees. Gyeongju topping out at 36 degrees Celsius. It looks like sweaty days and nights continue for the time being, so take care. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions. And that ends our Wednesday afternoon newscast. Coming up next is our daily panel session, and today we address the latest advances by K-pop on global music charts and more. Do stay with us.